Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Today, the Day of Women. In Iraq, the women have a good opportunity for in Parliament, 25 of Iraqi Parliament from women. And also the government cabinet, many ministers from women, especially my minister is a woman, Dr. Anne. At first, I would like to proceed my thanks to Mr. Mark, Mrs. Rosie, and all the other ICD staff to invite me to talk about investment opportunities that in Iraq, especially in my ministry, reconstruction and housing and municipalities, which are available for European and Germany companies, especially after the liberation of all regions of Iraq from the organization of ISIS terrorists. It's my pleasure to stand with you today to talk about this topic, and we aspire to benefit from this forum and in the presence of the distinguished personalities to participate the exchange of ideas for the implementation of development plans that contributed to the reconstruction of our country, as well as the launch of a number of strategic and important projects, which is a good opportunity for interested contractors and companies to work and invest in different sectors to return Iraq as it was a strong, beautiful, and love of life being. And throughout the ages, Iraq was a country of civilization, culture, and art and science. It is new that my country, Iraq, and over time has been subjected to attacks and setbacks, but each time back stronger and more beautiful, which that we seek by our cooperation and our community efforts. And according to this occasion, I would like to show you a short video appears what the volume of the devastation in the infrastructure, building, housing, industry, and this will show you how many reconstruction projects which needed in Iraq. Also, I want to apologize in advance about some of screenshots in video. Movie, yes. Yeah. The volume, please. Yeah. Excuse me.
Sì, ed è anche abbastanza forte. We need our technician. Sicuro che l'ha fatto? Sì, a lui l'ha messo, mi l'ho messo io.
Okay.
Yeah, let's call them. Maybe it's from over there. Just
لا لا بيصوت هو. No problem.
Good.
This is what the war in Mosul looks like. The city, which ruled the ancient world for 3,000 years, has been devastated over the course of the past month. Aside from administrative buildings and houses, the conflict has affected most of Mosul's scientific and cultural institutes. Many buildings of its prominent university, including the Political Science College and the Central University Library, have been heavily damaged. Prior to ISIL's takeover, more than 46,000 students studied here. They will not find a place to learn among these broken walls for many years to come. The museums of Mosul, holding hundreds of ancient artifacts, have been looted and lie in ruins. The same happened to the remains of the ancient city of Nineveh, the capital city of the Assyrian civilization since the 7th century. Here, ISIL destroyed the famous winged bulls with pickaxes and leveled the old gates with bulldozers and heavy machinery. The city of Nimrud, dating back from the 11th century BC, was blown up, leaving behind only the debris as evidence of the deliberate intention to obliterate the rich history of Iraq. The economic and service infrastructure has also been affected. The 5 bridges connecting East and West Mosul were destroyed. ISIL also burned 17 large oil wells in Al-Qayyara, which continued to burn for several months, polluting the environment and affecting the health of residents living close by. Similarly, in Al-Mishraq sulfur plant, ISIL set fire to more than 600,000 tons of sulfur before its retreat. More than 400,000 civilians are being held hostage by ISIL in the old city, which is still under their control. The violent clashes that are taking place in West Mosul are threatening the historic city, whose houses and channels were built almost 300 years ago. It is difficult to predict what might be the scale of damage in Mosul after its liberation. It may not be very different from that of other cities that have been retaken from ISIL in the north of Iraq. Before its occupation by ISIL militants in the summer of 2014, Sinjar was one of the most diverse cities in terms of religions, cultures, and ethnicities of the Middle East. Here, the Yazidis have coexisted with Arab and Kurd Muslims and Christians for thousands of years. But now, after more than a year after its liberation, Sinjar is still deserted and its inhabitants scattered among hundreds of IDP camps in the north of Iraq. Nobody's here but a few soldiers who defend the city and a few children who collect nails and debris to use them to build temporary shelters on Mount Sinjar before winter comes.
آی به خود مال ما خراب کنو خود کچ کوچینی ما هم برنو خود سیپین ما هم کشتنو تدین هاش چما شنگالی بوچی ابی آوا و ابی کهربا و ابی خورا و بی خورنا نتختور کو ن فيكي كتيده تشتغنينا.
نسبة الخراب والدمار وصل إلى أكثر من 70%. عدم رجوع الأهالي إلى سنجار هو بسبب الدمار الذي طال كل البنى التحتية وبيوت الأهالي.
Thousands of homes, hundreds of schools, health centers, sports facilities and shops have completely disappeared in the midst of these ruins. 42 unfinished housing blocks were booby-trapped by ISIL before they left the city last autumn. Sinjar is not the only city that has been totally destroyed. Also Al-Ramadi was subject to large-scale devastation. Almost half of it disappeared under the ruins. ISIL was keen on destroying the cities they occupied so as to make them unfit for human life. ISIL destroyed most of the infrastructure of Al-Ramadi. More than 20 bridges were largely or completely damaged. The 2 largest power stations were demolished. along with most of the power supply network of the neighborhoods. Most of the water filtering plants and the pipe network were ruined. The sewerage, mixed with the potable water, threatens the lives of thousands of people who are now at risk of severe health and environmental consequences. Al Ramadi General Hospital is out of service due to the damage inflicted on its ground floor and the destruction of its higher floors, where the main wards and 13 operation rooms were located, including the only cancer therapy center of the city. Most of the housing blocks of the city were ruined. Many of the educational facilities of the city of Ramadi are also not operational. The buildings of Al-Anbar University were largely destroyed, including most of the scientific and humanities colleges, as well as scientific laboratories and research centers. Around 190 primary and secondary schools were partially or completely damaged. All of the cities that have been occupied by ISIL have been devastated, as the city of Fallujah, whose bridges have been destroyed, as well as much of its infrastructure. The same applies to Tikrit, whose bridges were damaged, and many of its districts were systematically mined. In Beiji, ISIL wrecked large parts of the city, destroying thousands of houses, markets, and bridges, as well as the biggest oil refinery in the country.
The humanitarian crisis in Iraq is one of the largest, most complex, and most volatile in the world. Right now, more than 10 million Iraqi civilians need some form of humanitarian assistance. The cost to Iraq has been enormous. There are 3.5 million Iraqis who have been displaced from their homes. All of these families need assistance. Currently, they're living in more than 3,000 communities across the country.
Most of Iraqi internally displaced are still living in camps, which are spread in several areas of the country, facing extremely difficult circumstances. Everybody is waiting for the reconstruction of their cities destroyed by ISIL in order to return, regardless of the living conditions awaiting them. Thousands of those who make their way home have no option but to return because of the difficult life in those camps. Most of them have found their properties ruined, nothing left but ruins.
عشنا بيه عمر هذا البيت. أول ما طبهم هنا إحنا طلعنا من هذا البيت. ظلينا إيه ما قالوا من الأوضاع هدت. نزلنا من السيارة لقينا البيت واقع علقع. نريد نفوت ردنا نقعد بهذا المخزن. فتنا نقعد فيه ما قدرنا. يعني عيشتنا صارت صعبة.
The work will be started after determining the scale of destruction in a realistic way, specifying the required projects, and with their demands of machinery, equipment, and materials.
In all of the cities where Daesh was present, nothing is as it was before in these locations, and this is why it's so important that the new urban agenda is so important. Iraq is a country where this new agenda needs to be implemented as a matter of urgency.
كنا نصد عن العالم بأسره هذه الموجات البغيضة والتي حاربت الإنسان والأرض، ولذلك نتطلع إلى دعم دولي يتناسب وتضحيات العراق في هذه المرحلة.
Iraqis have fought ISIL on behalf of the world and will continue to do so until they're ousted from the country. However, despite all the violence and urban destruction caused by terrorism, Iraq is a country that has rebuilt itself several times throughout its history, and it will do it again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. But we promise you Iraq will be returned back stronger and stronger. Thank you. Inshallah. Oh no, yes. According to what appear in the video, you can imagine how many numbers of projects which are needed to reconstruction, especially which belongs to my ministry. I'm trusted for my ministry only. Presentation. for yeah, yes, the second thing. Yeah, yeah, good. These opportunities in roads and bridges. This is Cable State Bridge in Baghdad, and this is the design, suggestion design for the bridge. It's a huge one. The bridges connect Rusafa and Karkh in Baghdad. The bridge is about 2 kilometers and 600 meter, the length of the bridges. Two sides, one for going and for return. We have a concept design in Baghdad Eminent. The capital cost for this project, about 600 billion Iraqi dinar, about $5 million. Yes. The second project, also a huge project, a road from Baghdad to Turkey. The first stage, the length of this road about 550 kilometer from Baghdad to Turkey, from 7 sections. The first section is from Baghdad Abu Ghraib to Samarra, and this road connect Baghdad by north, Mosul, Tikrit, for the Turkish border. The concept design is completely done. The first, we want to implement the first stage from Baghdad to Samarra. The length of this stage, about 99 kilometer, with mineral roads. This road is for 3 lines for the going and 3 for the return. Also, the visibility study is already done, and the concept design is done by European companies, Germany company. The first, the estimate cost for this stage, about 746 Iraqi billion dinar, about $650 million. The concept design is already done. The second project, bridges at the road which connect Baghdad, the south of Baghdad, and the neighbor city Yusfia, called Yusfia. The length of this bridges about 1 kilometer and 200 meter, 3 lanes, 3 for going and 3 for turn, and another roads connect it. The estimated cost about 86 Iraqi billion. Also, my ministry responsible for housing sector. Excuse me, this is a presentation in Arabic because I have no time here. We have the land and the budget and all the technical studies. We need in this year about 2 million and 500 housing unit in all Iraq. Also in 2020, the number is increased. The first is Baghdad. The second is Mosul, Nainawa. The third is Basra. This map with the numbers. We have already, we need new projects. We're planning to do new projects in Iraq. Our government make a budget for this to build many housing complex in Iraq. This shows the cost of one square meter for the building and the minimum cost. Also, we have many opportunities for Minister of Health, about 31 hospital from small and middle and big hospitals. Also, the sector of education, we have many opportunities for investment. And also the National Investment Council have 1,000 of projects for investment. That's for investment. Also, our government had applying to make many projects for contractor, for companies, and fund it for tendering and prepare it for tendering in Iraq. And the Iraqi market is open for all companies, European and other companies for other nationalities. And we welcome for any company which come for Iraq. Thank you. Okay. No question. Okay, thank you.
Okay, in that case, let's express our gratitude a second time, please.